Hello, witches, magical folk of all kinds. I'm back. This video is going to be part vlog, part reading review, and part witch haul, because it's been a while since I've done one of those and I have bought so much. But I also know that it's been a while since I've put up a video, and part of that is tech issues because I've recorded a couple and they were out of focus or the audio was messed up. So I have been trying for the last couple of weeks, but I'm back. Hopefully this one's not out of focus. And I wanted to update about why I haven't been making videos, and pretty much that is because of the tower. My last video is about the tower, and I pulled the tower a while back, and I've been dealing with that situation for a few months now, and it hasn't been easy. It's been necessary, and the outcome has, at least so far, been good, but it hasn't been easy, and I've been doing a lot of shadow work, and a lot of therapy, and a lot of self-reflection, and working on all that since that. So, content creation, even though I love it, and I've wanted to get back to it, hasn't been a priority, because I've been my priority. But the good news is that I started therapy back in May, and I have been doing really well, making a lot of progress internally, I feel, and really getting to the root of things. I started because of my anxiety, but it's turned into this whole thing. The further I dig, the more I find, but turns out it all has like a root cause, and it's all the same root cause for the most part. So we're dealing with that. So as part of that, I've been also doing shadow work. I had been saying, I need to do shadow work. I need to get to these things before they destroy my life. And I didn't. So here's your friendly reminder. Do your shadow work. Do your shadow work. It's hard, but it's worth it, and then maybe you will avoid tower situations. I've actually, since I made that video about the tower, I had another tower situation, which was very sudden, was catastrophic to an extent, but it was also one of the situations I was very happy to say good riddance to. So it was a little blip on the radar in my life, but it made things turbulent for a little while, not that long, honestly. But I was dealing with that in the midst of this whole huge thing that's been going on. That's what's been going on with me. A lot of turbulence in my life. The summer is, well, kind of winding down, I know September is the hottest usually for Chicago, so it's not really winding down here, but we'll see. This summer's been pretty mild, but in my internal calendar wise, it's winding down because I start grad school in a week. I thought it was 2 weeks. Turns out I start on the 23rd, not the 30th. But I start grad school in a week, and I'm so excited. I'm going for my master's in library sciences, library and information sciences, and I have been wanting to do this for years. I used to work as a librarian, if you know me, if you see me talk about anything passionately, it's probably books. I love books. That's what we're going to get into with this video. But I'm really excited. On the personal side, I've been working on a witchcraft library classification system, like the Dewey Decimal System. In libraries, all witchcraft books are stuck under 2 numbers in the Dewey Decimal System. It's either in the mythology and folklore section, or it's in the religious section. And we know as witches that books don't fit into those a lot of the time. So I took this idea, and there's a whole psychology section, like shadow work and books on queer theory, like Outside the Charmed Circle and stuff like that. And then there's obviously the religious side, but then there's the actual practices like green witchery, kitchen witchery stuff. I have this whole thing that I've been working on. I've been working on it for about a year now, and that is something I'm hoping to expand even more from going to library school and then, work as a librarian. My ultimate goal, I don't know if this will ever happen, but I want to start and run a whole witchcraft library down the line if funding happens, because I don't have the money to do that. But that's my dream goal. But in the meantime, I just want to get my degree and work for a small town public library like I used to. And I'm looking forward to starting classes. And I guess that goes into my first thing I want to show you. I have been crafting a lot. I've been doing witchcraft a lot. I've been doing some pretty amazing spells. Well, some spells that have been getting amazing results. I've been doing a lot this summer, but also I've been crafting, just, the mundane. Not really, because I do put my craft into it, but I wanted to share. I've been making candles. I started making candles about a year ago, and it's something I am hoping to, open a little online shop and get some extra income for while I'm in grad school, because I have not finalized this plan, but I am probably quitting my full-time job, and some extra income would be nice to, keep me fed during grad school during the 2-year program. I've been working on a bunch of different kinds of candles, and one thing I, in particular, have felt the need for is Tealights. I don't know about you, but I don't want to sit there and wait for a whole candle to burn for a couple hours. Sometimes I just need to quickly do a spell, light a candle, and be done with it. My workspace is what you see here. I have my desk here. I have an L-shaped desk. This side of the desk is where I do my spell work, or I do it behind me, but I don't want to sit at my desk while the candle's burning down. I don't want to have to keep an eye on it at this desk. So I made some Tealights. And I know sometimes you can find Tealights in a bunch of different colors, but for the most part, Tealights, I found white Tealights, very common, and I found blue Tealights. Not much beyond that unless you're looking for seasonal, they'll usually have black and orange Tealights for Halloween, which is coming up. The dollar store already has Halloween stuff out. I'm so excited. I've already bought some stuff. But so I made Tealights in a whole bunch of different colors to suit my needs, and there's a lot in here. So I plan on selling these because I think a lot of people can benefit from, making time for your craft, but sometimes you need to just do it and be done, and Tealights burn down really quickly. So I made a whole bunch of those. And the other thing that I'm really excited about selling are these. They are negativity reversal candles. So black on the top, yellow on the bottom for happiness, for friendship, yellow associations. Blue for burning through the negativity and for reconciliation, other blue things, and various other colors to suit your needs. I wanted to, sell some different colors to help people along with their color associations. So I've been making those, and I really love those. They came out so nice, and I think they're pretty unique. So I'm going to sell those. I don't know when I'm going to be opening up my shop. I'm hoping for some time in maybe mid-September, maybe early September, depending on how much stock I can build up. That's a fun thing that I've been doing. The other crafting thing I've been doing is I've been making little witch hats. This is a pattern I got on Ravelry. The link is down below, and I love it so much. I have made this one, and I can't wait to wear it when the weather gets colder this fall. It's nice and, obviously witchy, but also functional for the winter, which Chicago winters are 10 months long, not 10, 8 months long. and I'm really excited to have something witchy to wear. I also made it in pink. I just finished this last night. It has a slightly bigger and floppier brim, which I'm really excited about. Look at this big and floppy brim. So I adjusted the pattern a little bit for this one, and I'm just so excited about these. I'm working on a third one already because I need to have it in all the colors. And that segues into our book portion of the video. I picked up 2 books recently to incorporate more of those crafts into my witchcraft. So we have Candle Magic by Madame Pamita and Cord Magic by Brandy Williams. I have not started this one. It literally just came in last night, and I'm really excited to start it though. It has great reviews, and so if you do any kind of yarn magic, fiber magic, I definitely recommend checking this out, or even fiber arts. Check it out. I will let you know an update on this when I get around to reading it, because I haven't started. I just got it last night, but I did read all of Candle Magic and I love it. This book I feel is essential for anyone who does candle magic. It's not just focused on making candles. There's part of that, but this book kind of assumes you don't make your own candles, and it's just all about everything that goes into candle magic. Obviously, there's color associations, and then there's like the number of candles that you can use to strengthen a spell. Like 4 is for stability, 2 is for partnership. Using different colors of candles in the same spell to represent different facets of the spell. And then there's a whole section on smoke and which direction the flame is leaning when it's burning, and looking at the wax to see what outcomes are possibly going to come out of this spell. And I have just really enjoyed this book so much. It's super useful information about making your own oils to anoint candles. It is essential for anyone who does candle magic. I really think so. It doesn't really have spells. It just tells you how to craft your own most powerful spells with candles. I do a ton of candle magic. That's what I started with. That's what I'm comfortable with. And this book has just been invaluable. So definitely check it out. By the way, the links for all of these books that I talk about in this video are down below. They're Amazon affiliate links. I get a tiny kickback from your purchases, which help me buy more books, and tarot cards, which we're going to get to also in this video. The next book is actually books. I have been seeking out books on city magic, urban magic. I live in Chicago. A lot of you know I'm not super thrilled about living here, but I have 2 years for grad school and then I can move out. But I live in Chicago. I've been trying to embrace, magic in the city. It's a struggle for me. I'm not a city person whatsoever. I grew up in the woods of Massachusetts and I miss it, but I've been trying. So we've got Urban Primitive. I've gotten about halfway through this one. It was written in the early 2000s, and you can totally tell it was written by like punks who were probably like 20, 22. And I love it because even though I moved to Chicago later, I identify with a lot of this because I ran in the punk scene, and they talk about dumpster diving and getting supplies from like floral shops before they throw things out. And I was just like, yes, that is me. It's written for a very, not a very specific population, but it is definitely written with the urban population that doesn't have that many funds in mind, which when I first moved to Chicago was me. And I definitely could have used a book like this back then, but I love it. And there's like references to Buffy, which is how you know this book is dated, but I love it. I could only find a used copy of this, so it's been out of print for a while. But if you live in the city and you struggle and maybe you identify with the punk life a little, check this out. I've also gone back to reading urban magic. I picked this up over a year ago at this point, and I put it down because it was not a book that was good for reading during a lockdown in a pandemic. Like, it was literally when everything was locked down, couldn't even go to the park or anything, was when I get this. And it's all about like going out to your local places and connecting with the spirits there. I'm like, I can't leave my apartment. Okay. So I put it down for a while and I picked it back up. I really enjoy this one. The first part of the book is all about like learning the history of cities and how they develop and like their architecture and stuff. And then it gets into deities and stuff that you can do in the city. So I really enjoy this one. Funny enough, this actually came in last month's Witch's book box. So I already had a copy of it. I sent the other copy along to a friend, but it was nice to be like, hey, I've already been reading that. The other one that I got is The City is a Labyrinth. It says it's a walking guide for urban animists. It's small, it's 60 pages, it's very short. It's supposed to be taken along with you while you walk around the city and explore. And it's really cute, and I have been enjoying it. The last city book is Finding Fairies, discovering sprites, pixies, redcaps, and other fantastical creatures in an urban environment. My friend told me to pick up this one. I haven't opened it yet, like, at all. But I have been really, really wanting to connect with fairies. I've always wanted to. And lately I've been really called to do that. But I live in the city. And there are fairies, there are sprites and pixies in cities, don't get me wrong, but establishing a connection with them when you don't have any personal greenery. I don't have a yard, I don't have a backyard, I have a little strip of grass outside my apartment. That's it. And I can't like do anything with it. It's not my land. So I found it really difficult to connect with any because I don't have those opportunities. So I'm excited to dive into this and maybe get some tips and tricks. On kind of the other end of the spectrum, away from city magic, I recently read Entering Hecate's Garden. This was another one that I got on the Witch's book box, but I actually listened to the audiobook on Scribd, which plug, I get nothing from this except a free month if you use my referral code to sign up, but I love Scribd. Scribd is an ebook and audiobook service. You pay a flat fee every month and get access to so many ebooks and audiobooks. It's so much better than Audible. Audible, where you have to pay like the subscription price and then you pay for books. Who thought of that? Amazon. But this is just a flat fee. I love it. Their selection is huge, especially their selection of witchcraft books. But I listened to this instead of reading it, and it was really great. So I skipped a lot of the middle part where it actually goes over herbs, but that's just, a reference part, so no big deal. But this is a great book. It's on Scribd in at least audiobook. I think it's in ebook format too. So it translates well to audiobook if you want to check that out. I also just this past week finished listening to another book about Hecate. Hecate, Goddess of Witches, just recently came out. It's by Courtney Weber. She's one of the hosts of That Witch Life podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, and I really recommend. But this book just came out a couple weeks ago, and I did not mean to be on a Hecate kick. She's just really popular right now, at least in the circles I've been in. So I have no current plans to actually work with her or establish a relationship with her as of right now. But I was like, a little knowledge never hurt anyone, right? So I've been listening to that as an audiobook on Scribd. I really like it. I actually finished it a few days ago. I really like it. I knew very, very little about Hecate before listening to both of these books, and they're both filled with legends and myths, but also personal anecdotes and talking about how Hecate has come into their lives, and I've enjoyed it so much. I now know a lot more about Hecate than I did. I don't know everything, but I know a lot more than I did. I really like Courtney's book because she puts in personal stories about how it relates to her life, about how Hecate has helped her through things. And some of these stories I had already heard because she's talked about them on That Witch Life, but it was nice to hear them in the context of this book and the context of working with Hecate. So I really enjoyed that book as well. So we've gone from urban magic to green herbology magic and now water magic. I picked this up last summer. I was talking to my friend about water magic because she's really called to the ocean and ocean magic. So I picked this up because I was also interested. I am really tied to the ocean. I live in Chicago. There's no ocean here. Lake Michigan is not a substitute for the ocean. I'm sorry. But I have been also listening to this as an audiobook. I picked this up a year ago. I still haven't even opened the hard copy because I've been listening to the audiobook. I really enjoy it. She does not assume that you're near an ocean. Actually, this was written especially for people who are not. A lot of what I found especially has been all like assuming you're on the coast, which most people do not live on the coast. But this is water witchcraft, not ocean witchcraft, and it's written for pretty much everyone in mind. There is a lot about like going to bodies of water, even a small creek, and kind of like dipping your toes in and stuff. I can't do that in Chicago. We have rivers, but you don't want to dip your toes in them. And Lake Michigan is obviously a huge body of water, but it's out of the way for me. It's really inconvenient for me. So, especially during a pandemic. So I haven't been able to put any of that into practice, but then there's bits about like working with, water in your house, like running water from your sink and your bath and stuff. So it's good for everyone. And I've been enjoying it. I've been listening to the audiobook on this. And that is also on Scribd as a note. I know I'm plugging Scribd a lot. I just really love it. But I have a referral code down below. If you use it, you get 60 days free trial. And I get 30 days free for every person who uses my referral. So it's not a paid sponsorship or anything, but I just really enjoy it. And if you like audiobooks or ebooks, you should check it out. You really, really should. 60-day trial. No harm done. Now for something completely different. I have been reading Badass Ancestors. This is another book that came in a while back in the Witch's book box. And I was like, I'm really, really interested in this, but not right now. And so I finally picked it up. I, as you can tell, have been taking notes. I love it. There's a lot of information in the beginning about finding your ancestors, and there's a lot of different resources. It's definitely American focused or European focused, but there's resources for people who might not know their family history, or for people who were brought over as slaves, and people who don't want to work with their actual ancestors. So there's a lot of different information in this if you don't want to or can't work with your ancestors. As for me, I thankfully already had a lot of the footwork done. My brother, a few years back, researched our family tree on my dad's side, and my family is actually fairly easy to research, just by nature of us in history. So it was fairly easy, and there's stories about my ancestors, which I found really, really interesting. Like, my ancestors were involved in the Salem witch trials. My ancestor actually protested the Salem witch trials and then had to flee Salem because they would have been persecuted as witch for doing so. So I have a lot of interesting family ancestors. My family was not quiet in history, and there are books written about how they were rebel rousers, and thankfully I didn't have to do a lot of the research. So I definitely have some badass ancestors, and I have been wanting to work more and more with them. So this has been a great book to get into. Like I said, it's very like European or American focused, especially like England and Scotland and Ireland and like that kind of ancestry. But I think a lot of people, no matter their background in the US, would benefit from this. That's just the information about researching your family. But the second half of the book, even more than second half of the book, is about working with those ancestors and working with ancestral archetypes, kind of like surrogate ancestors. So lots of information in here for everyone. The next two books are a different kind of book. They're workbooks. So Astrology for Yourself, I'm pretty sure I've talked about on this channel before. This is really recommended in Offbeats, and I picked it up a while back now, but never opened it and got into it. So I've been doing that, and it's all about learning to interpret your own birth chart and kind of putting the things to use for you. And I really enjoy it, especially since the book does not focus on just like the good qualities or anything. So there's skillful applications of your sign and unskillful applications, which is also, I like how they word that instead of like positive and negative. I don't know. I just really think positive and negative are not the best wording for things, especially when it's talking about your own personality. So it's all about interpreting your own birth chart. It's a workbook. You fill it out. So I have already learned a lot about my birth chart. I knew some stuff going into this because we talk about astrology a lot in Offbeats, but I am learning so much more. And if you're interested in learning how to interpret birth charts, especially your own, but you can then use this for anyone else. But the best place to start is your own birth chart, because you don't know anyone nearly as well as you know yourself. I have found this to be super useful in learning more about myself. And then I have been working my way through Tarot for Yourself. It's another book by Courtney Weber. I think this was her first book. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was her first. And I have been really enjoying this. This is it's like a workbook type book, although it's not really, you don't write in it like that, but you take notes. So it's not a quick book to get through, but I have been enjoying it. It's all about learning to read cards for yourself, first and foremost, but mostly learning to read cards without bias, especially in the context of for yourself. You might put a little bias into the cards because when you're reading for yourself, because you want certain things to be said. But this removes the bias and really makes you think about how you think about each card individually. And I have been enjoying it. I've been learning and rethinking cards a lot. I eventually want to get to the point where I can offer tarot readings as part of my income, again, through grad school alongside the candles. And I'm just not at the point where I'm confident enough to do that. So I've been doing a lot of research on tarot, and a lot of the research has been, oh, I already know this. Oh, yeah, I knew this. Yeah. Okay. This is not the case. This has made me think about cards, and I have really, really enjoyed it. And on that note, tarot cards themselves. It's actually only one tarot deck because I have 3 pre-ordered, 2 through Kickstarter that I won't see until next year. 1 is coming next month, and I'm really excited about that. But right now, I just have 1 tarot deck, 1 new tarot deck. It's Crystal Unicorn Tarot. I love it. There will be a video on this. My friend Doogsley uses this a lot. She did a whole thorough reading for me a while back, and she used this, and I was just like, yes, I love this. It's unicorns, it's crystals, it's pastel. It actually does use the crystals. Every single major arcana card has its own crystal that correlates to the card interpretation, and then every suit has its own crystal as well. Like the pentacles are citrine because citrine is a very prosperous crystal, stuff like that. I don't want to get into it fully because I will have a video on this. I recorded the flip through when I first got it, of course, but now I have to do the impressions after working with it for a while. And I will say I didn't connect with this immediately, which was surprising because, like I said, I'd seen my friend use it a lot and she'd read for me and I was like, yes, I need that. But I didn't connect with it right away, but now I use it all the time. It is probably second to my last unicorn deck. But you know me, I love unicorns. And then I also got Magic of Unicorns Oracle deck. I haven't even looked at this. I just got this last night. I'm about to, after this video, record my first flip through and look at it. So I haven't even looked at it. The creator of these cards has written quite a few books on unicorn magic. I haven't read them yet, but I have come across her name while looking up unicorn magic. So I'm excited to see what these have in store. The art style seems very similar to my Oracle of the Fairies deck, so I'm excited for that. I've been looking for a unicorn Oracle deck for a while. The one I come across the most is all stolen artwork. And the cards don't flow together at all because they're very clearly from a million different artists. So I was really happy that this one finally came out so I could get an Oracle deck about unicorns. I actually have a second unicorn Oracle deck coming within a couple hours, actually. It hasn't been delivered yet, but it's a different kind of Oracle deck. It's this one, and again, Doogsley has it, and she reads with it for a lot, and it's very unique, so I'm excited to look at that one fully. On the subject of unicorns, our last book for the video. I know, it's been a lot of books, but I got Unicorn Magic by Tess Whitehurst, and I started reading it. It's so far really nice. As my friend put it, it's fluffy. It's like the fluffy side of magic and unicorns. Nothing wrong with that. But I have been enjoying this, and it's going to go alongside my cards so well. And it's all like connecting with the unicorn inside you and the guidance inside you. So I have been enjoying this. There's activities at like in every chapter, and so far I've liked them. It's like, go out and look at the clouds. And I've really enjoyed this. So last book of the video, Unicorn Magic. If you're like me and you're into unicorns, check it out. I think that's it for now. I have rambled on quite a bit about what I have purchased lately, and I need to finish this video. All those links for books and cards are down below. And check out Scribd. I think you'll be happy with Scribd if you like ebooks and audiobooks. Their selection is not small. I have a lot going on. I have a lot of books to read, and I'm really excited to get back to content creation, especially if I end up quitting my job. Then I will have so much time for videos between schoolwork. So I'm excited for what this fall brings me. And I'm sure it'll bring more books. If you want to check me out elsewhere, I have all my social links down below. So if you want to support me, I would really appreciate it. And of course, there's Twitter to keep up with my daily shenanigans. There's a Discord down below where we talk about witchcraft, but also video games and life. And I'll be back soon, hopefully next week, with another video. Have a wonderful, magical day.